Hi, welcome to Unexpected Productions FaceTime live chat. Unexpected Productions is a improv theater in Seattle. You probably know that, otherwise you wouldn't be listening. And Unexpected Productions is 37 years old. And we're at the theater in Pikes Market by the Gum Wall. And, well, we're not in there now. Right now you're in my living room. But we also, as far as context of Unexpected Productions, we've been doing theater sports all that time, which makes us the longest running show in Seattle. And we're also the first in the U.S. to do theater sports. So that's a little bit about the company, which I think you already know, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So thanks for being here. I'm happy to get to talk to people that we miss so much. My name is Jill Farris, and I'm a player and a teacher and the education director at Unexpected Productions. And I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you for being our audience and for being our students or colleagues or friends, for being the community of improv. So thank you. We really miss you. And we're really looking forward to being back in person with you when that is possible. But we're not in person because we are all yes-anding, if I can indulge in improv terms, in this huge social distancing agreement that we have. We're saying yes to that, which is really heartening to me. And we're also saying and to it by people finding all kinds of creative ways to be together virtually. So that's inspiring, and I admire all the ways that people have said yes and to being together virtually. Folks have organized trivia nights on Zoom, and I've heard people have told me about calling a relative that they haven't talked to for a long time, looking out for each other in ways. So thanks for all of that. It's interesting to be separate from each other. Being present and available is everything as improvisers. And to be together and be connected, we're always talking about that. And yet here tonight, here we are all in our different rooms and places that you're listening to me from. And all of our rooms that we're in, mine's completely different than yours, right? And I don't know what yours is. So we're completely different people and separated by that, and separated literally by that tonight. But even when we're on stage together, when we get to be in a room together and on stage together, we're separated by those same differences, because I'm a different person and you're a different person. So we're separate. In that living room that I'm in now, I bring that with me. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we're separate and completely and totally different, because it's not what I am or what you are, but it's what happens in between us. It's the sum of both of us. So this separation is kind of a dramatic demonstration of the way it is anyway. We just don't notice. We just didn't notice that we were so separate because we're usually on stage together. So hi folks that I see coming in, joining. Oh, Brian Garvey. Wow, you're in Portland. Brian was our famous bartender and just a huge help at Unexpected Productions for a long time. So we missed you, Brian. Thanks for joining in. So there's a little bit of improv language around our experience. And let's see. I'm wondering how people are saying yes and to this stay-at-home situation on their own. Guy Nelson says hi. Well, hi, Guy. And it also, if I can talk about that in improv terms a little bit. So also in our home is our story that we're making up as we go along. And now we're making it up all at home, on our own or with family, or depending on your living situation. And so I'm thinking in improv terms about my story at home And one of the things that we do as improvisers is we try to include all our offers. What are the offers that have been presented, that are in the story, that have ended up there? And are they all being used? So I'm wondering if you, like me, have found some abandoned offers that you had ignored in the story of your home, which is your life and the story of you. So my example of an abandoned offer that I've discovered in my stay-at-home segment of life is sourdough bread, which I've mentioned when I was on a Zoom trivia party. Thank you so much for organizing that, Janine Clark. And yeah, so I've had starter, and I've kept it alive, so it wasn't completely abandoned. But I've had a cookbook, and I've had videos, and I just never really made it happen. But then, because I was home and only home, and there's only so much you can do at home, I acknowledged that offer and embraced it and brought it from an idea to a loaf of bread that we can eat now. And so that was an abandoned offer, an ignored offer that now is integral to our story because it's helping us survive and be our food. So, do you have an abandoned offer in your story? Do you, like, hey Chad, good to see you. And like maybe a jigsaw puzzle that it was part of your story, but it's been abandoned. It can happen in a scene, and the audience sees that jigsaw puzzle, and they're like, well, we thought that meant something, but you're just going to ignore it, right? So you get my idea, and that's just a little encouragement towards your own abandoned. Maybe it's a bag that has yarn in it, knitting needles, and a little instruction book on how to knit. Now that might be a promise of your story. It might be a neglected, ignored offer, or that bag might be informing your character. And in that case, it's not an ignored offer, right? It's saying this character doesn't want to knit, had some ideas, but has gone beyond knitting. And that's not part of their character, so it informs them. So there's a difference between something that's there that isn't literally used, right? I don't have to take a picture off my wall and use it for a plate to have it be used. It's already informing me. It's telling you who I am or something about me. So it might inform the character, not be ignored. Or you may have forgotten it's there, like, you know, your sourdough and you just ignored it and abandoned an offer. So there's a little difference between abandoning an offer and ignoring an offer, and how what is in the room but not literally being used may still be being used in the story. So that is my idea about the rooms that we're in and the things that are in them and how they contribute to our story and how they contribute to our character, and using it as an analogy to our scene work. So what I'd like to do at this moment, just want to see if there's anything anybody has said that I can respond to. No, that's fine. Hey, and I've never done a live chat before, so thank you for being with me on this. And so just that thank you made me lose my train of thought. It's interesting to watch yourself do something just to be talking. So I'm going to look at my notes right here. Oh yes, our advancing and expanding. So that's something today when we're thinking about, well, we're going to go through our day, right? All of us are going to, you know, start in the morning and then end at night. And it's in how we expand in those little activities that we do that tells us who we are, who the characters are. And right now, I'm imagining a whole bunch of renditions of how we're expanding, say on the theme of being cozy, right? Maybe it means staying in bed. Maybe it means making soup. Maybe, who knows what it means, but it's expanding on, maybe we're all cozy, but it gets played out and writes a character in the expansion, right? So what other ways are you advance through your day first, and maybe you get up, worry about the state of the world. That's expanding. Expand, expand. How long do you want to expand in that place? Expand, expand. Oh, go take a shower. right? Then you advance, which is important. Advance your story, right? And then you get out of the shower and you wonder if you should put on your pajamas again because no one's going to see you, or your clothes again, and make a decision, then you advance. So this idea of advancing and expanding is writing who we are and the story of our day. So there's a little of advancing and expanding. How's everybody doing? It's amazing to be apart from each other in something that's so interactive and so dependent on each other. I am inspired by lots of ideas that are coming up to connect, to do online things, to spend the time. Our stage has been painted, thanks to Chaz for that. Nicole has been doing all kinds of cleaning in the theater and making things right. And I know individuals are thinking about what they can contribute. So much support from our students right now that we're receiving. We really appreciate it. I see names come up on donations that are students and duos, people, audience members, friends. It really means a lot. And for those of you, we all are doing many things besides being improvisers. And so if I could take a moment to thank you for the sacrifices that you're making in your lives that are bigger than improv. I know we have people on the front lines, doctors and nurses. Thank you. Thanks to people who work in grocery stores that are still open. Thank you to the wait staff who have sacrificed, and we feel for all the people who are suffering from unemployment, and we feel for people who have been touched or dealing directly with the virus in their family or themselves, and we're thinking about everybody. And let us know how you're doing, because we do care and we feel your absence. We're looking forward to getting some classes on Zoom, and we're also looking into our archives of videos that we have that we're wondering about streaming for historical reference for our audience who didn't get to see that show a long time ago, and other ways to be together and perform. So it's all venturing into some new territory for us, and we just have to say yes and to it and embrace it. And we know we're not alone. Everyone is going through this, but we're going through it together. So thanks. Thanks for all the ways that people are playing a part in things. And let's see, oh, Ron says, are you able to see the comments in the side chat bar? We're commenting. Oh, thank you, Ron. See, I've got a phone and a... Oh, thank you. Oh, cool. Oh, I'm so sorry. See? Now, you know what? Thank you so much. I didn't know I had to, I thought it was going to scroll itself up. I got a heart for that, a heart for ignorance. That's the American way. All right. Oh, cool, cool, cool. So I'm going to go backwards a little bit. Michelle swept and mopped nasty floors. I don't believe they're ever nasty. Cool. Oh, learning to cook for a vegetarian. So you guys have already seen these, right? And I'm just seeing them now for the first time. Ron can text me again my answer. Let's see. Okay. Here's a fun challenge for you, says Guy Nelson. Tell us a 1-minute story that involves a giraffe, a cloud, and a can of beer. Guy Nelson. All right. Once upon a time, there was a giraffe, and it was so tall that it could reach way up to a cloud. In fact, it could poke its little head up through the cloud and see out over it and to all the things that were below it. And looking from the cloud, the giraffe saw a beer. And so he stooped to the beer, which is what you're doing when you are up in the clouds and decide to go down for a beer. The end. All right. Hi. Lila. Mm, who else we got? Oh, some people saying, "Oh, hey, Aaron. Hey, Aaron Ray. How are you? I hope Kelsey is doing well." Those are students. Masako, hello from Japan. That's awesome. That is great. Oh yes, and I was saying Leona is complimenting me for being brave, and that means it's probably not going that well. So cool. So thank you, Ron, for the comments. Did you tell me something else? You're correct. Okay. Awesome. That is so cool. Let me look at my notes here, see if I had any other analogies with our from our separate places. Oh yeah, and you're telling me what you're doing. Also about listening. You know, we have to learn to listen. Well, I love all these. It's so amazing. Thing on the screen. Oh, but we, as no one thinks they're not listening until you take an improv class, and then you realize that, oh, I didn't realize you were sending the clap to me. I was somehow, I wasn't aware. It's because we can't listen the way we need to as improvisers until we've had a little bit of training. So it's turning down our editor, judgment, control, all those things that we all know about to get to that point of just being present and just being available. And so it's interesting to think about our presence and availability when we're not in person and when I can't see you, because a lot of feeling present is to look in someone's eyes. For me, do a lot of, we'll make eye contact, and you can feel it in the room. I'm so amazed when at the beginning of a class, we do pass the clap, which I often do as a ritual, because it helps really bring me into focus and bring me into present. And even though you're in a room with 16 other people, you just still feel only right here, right now, accomplished not by solitary meditation or a solitary, I'm going to shut the world out, but by being in a big group. And then nothing is in your mind, not the past or the future or inhibitions or any of those other things. You're just present. And I know how that feels in the room. And I know that there's intentionality to coming to these platforms together. So it says we are coming together to pay attention, which is really beautiful. But of course, it's different than the in the room stuff. And I'm wondering if anyone has a comment about that. I know there's a little quote. You'll all know who said it. But it was that we can't all be in a room together, but wow, has the room gotten big? It's infinite now, right? Nearly. Or it can be very, very big. A very big room. So you can't all be in my living room, but we can all be together on this. So it just throws the whole thing of listening and being together and connecting into a whole different realm. That it has such possibility. And also the limitations of how I traditionally. I better scroll up, see if someone's saying something. Let's see. Leona, no, it's going great. Hello, Masako. How are you? What can you tell me? What's happening where you are? She's still around. Here she is. You know, while I'm waiting to see if Masako is able to give us share with us a little of her experience, I would like to, while we were talking about listening and connecting and being together and being present and available, just to share a moment together in this way of just being where we are right now. So I'm going to ask what you're hearing when I'm quiet. What do you hear outside of your house or in your house? And I'm asking what you smell. Are there smells? And what do you feel under your feet? What do you feel Are you sitting down? Do you feel something? What do you feel under your hand? Just all those things of just there. I just wanted to be with you in our separateness, but just to really be where I am. And I hope you had a moment to be where you are too. I'm going to look at a little text on my phone. Oh, a lot of people are asking questions on the watch party, but you can't see them. Huh. Well, let's see. The watch party. Oh, my sound went off. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Here we go. Under my feet. She's in her house. Oh, I smell fresh rain, Dad. Hear my fridge, the furnace rumbling. Hi, Leah. Thanks for being here. Cool. So I don't know what to do about watch party that there are questions, Kent. But maybe someone can let me know what was asked. Oh, there's 2 new comments. Cool, isn't this nice? You know, if you're watching me do something that I haven't done, so it's nothing slick. Isn't that all right? Yay! Lila has her TV. Hi, Laura. It feels the couch cushion. That's yes, you know what? Oh, it's on Kent's personal page. Well, Kent, if it's on your personal page, I don't know what that'll mean for me. Oh, Joe says
there's something else.
Okay, here I got my technical assistant has come with his phone to help me. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Sid, what is your favorite genre to play on stage? Oh, for me? Or, let's see. I love, gosh, Tennessee Williams. I'll say that. We just watched The Rose Tattoo, which was really wonderful. Elizabeth Westerman, how do you get to the chat? Can someone tell? Let's see. How it's just there when I see it. It's on the side. Don't know. Maybe someone can tell me the answer and I'll say it out loud to her. Yes, Sid, this is where the party is. Shannon, hello. Yeah, I don't know how to tell you how to get to the chat, Elizabeth. Oh, good. Lindsay Grimm's telling her. Thank you. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Cool. Hi, Melissa. Oh, and great. Matt Smith, you getting help too? Cool. I'm looking through all these things. What is that from Kent? I don't know. Oh, Scott is getting a nice dinner from Melissa. I guess you guys can all see these, can't you? So you know what I was going to say? You can see each other's, right? So you don't need me to report those back because you're already seeing them. Is that what I'm learning as the willing learner? Do you love that Kent asked me to do this first? Because who is has more technical prowess than Jill Farris? I mean, come on, right? So here it is. But what I was going to say about that, if we talk in terms of improv again, is that a lot of people come to our classes because they're very afraid of public speaking. That's the #1 fear. Actually, people are more afraid of public speaking than they are of snakes or riding in an airplane, things that can be really dangerous. And so it's interesting to visit the fear and try to, so I would never teach someone how to be not afraid of a snake, because you should be afraid of snakes. But I do enjoy having people come together and sort of forget that you're performing and then suddenly realize that you're not afraid, you're just having a really good time. And I'm just talking about this idea of fear because of my own vulnerability. And if we're really going to ask each other to be courageous, then you really do have to have something at risk, which I do at the moment, or did before this started. So it's good to be in that space. Say, oh yeah, this is what it feels like. That's what it feels like to be vulnerable, and to be how it's going. Anyway, cool. Hey, let's see. Oh, we got some Susie. I see a Susie. Well, let's see. Let me ask you guys another question. Thanks for sharing your space thing. Oh, how many abandoned offers? So, once you find anything about your house that you decided that you're going to incorporate in your story, or did you decide you were going to, it just informs your character by not doing it? I'll put that one out there again. See if anything comes through on that one. And here's something else I was thinking of, and this came from Amanda Roundtree, who I've been in Atlanta that I've talked to. She's teaching improv out there, storytelling, and is an improviser, and you guys all know her, some of you. But she was talking about having people pick up an object in their house, in their room, and then just to talk about it. And they're in our stories of just something that's in your room, in your space, and if you pick it up and say something about it, it will tell us something, either about you or a story in and of itself. And cool. Oh, Nancy says, this is from Joe Guppy. Oh, you guys can see it already. Well, I'll read out loud anyway. Nancy says she's a trillion times more afraid of snakes than of public speaking. See, that's logical to me. That makes sense. But a lot of people are, yeah, they're not. And I don't usually, I can't really quite relate to it. But although in this circumstance, I can. Maybe this is how it feels when people can see you. You know, I mean, when in the normal situation, right? Normal. This is normal too. Oh, here's some more phone help. Okay. Leave my watch party. Can't. Leave my watch party and go to the link that I posted in the watch party. Oh, hey, Joe. Joe, are you still there? Did Joe leave this amazing thing? He must have. That was shown on. Here we go.
I'm on delay.
Yo, he's on delay.
Yes.
So the link that Kent has, okay.
In the watch party.
Yeah, did you hit the link?
Yes.
I don't, because I don't have. What? Because I don't have that there. This is interaction. This is a little scene work. When Joe can see things on his phone that I can't. There he is.
There we are. This is in the past.
Yes.
I think if you just keep on doing your thing.
All right, it'll come up. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Anything else of... So one of the things was that Kent, who initiated this for me to do, was that the philosophy of UP education, of the UP education, and how we describe what we do is to teach spontaneous storytelling through improvised scenes. And we expect that these spontaneous scenes, the spontaneous theater, will be what it is. And so we aren't bending it toward comedy or toward political commentary or toward drama. We're not bending it toward anything. We are accepting it as it is. And we as a company and as a school expect variety as a result in the scene work. A lot of what we see in scene work and improvised scenes is funny and it makes us laugh. But it doesn't mean that that's our end goal. We don't have an end goal, but to be true to the moment and let what happens happen. So that's part of that. We are also believe that we're teaching people how to improvise, and that carries into whatever they're doing as an improviser. Much in the same way that an actor learns to act, and they don't learn to be a one-act actor or a monologue actor or a full play actor. No, they just learn to act. And that's what we believe improvisers learn to do, is improvise. And they carry that skill and knowledge and ability into short form or long form or whatever the framework is for improv, because they've learned to improvise. And we don't want the form, but the content, what's in the improvisation, what matters to us. And we're thinking that what's within that content is about being human in all different ways. And that can come out absurdly, abstractly, realistically, comedically, seriously, in many, many different ways. And as Randy says, Randy Dixon, our artistic director, that we're not looking at the container. We're looking at the contents, the soup. So it's not the game that it's in. The game is there to teach you how to improvise, but it's the content. It's what's inside. So it doesn't matter what pretty packaging you put around it or simple packaging. What matters is what's in it. And what's in it is a truthful, honest response from your brain and your heart to what's in front of you. And that how you respond needs what came before your response to be long in an improvised scene. So that's a little bit of UP philosophy and teaching. And we're happy to teach people who need a creative outlet because their work is quite corporate. We're happy to teach to artists who want to try a different craft to improve their own artistic endeavors. We're happy to teach to actors or to people who are coming up with their own theater. We think it helps everyone, and I believe it helps us as humans. And like I always say, I try to live by the precepts of improv, and it's how I frame things. So even what's happening right now, partner look good? Are we listening to each other? Are we saying yes and to the possibilities and everything else it encompasses? The comfort that's needed, the joy that's needed? Yes. So, and here's a question. Chris, are classes still projected to start as scheduled following the 4-week delay? And we are going to, we'll be sending an email out this coming week to students to let them know that we are delaying classes again. We are postponing until June. It's not practical to hold classes. We will be offering some Zoom type classes or online classes, and we'll be letting you know about those as well, and other ways to connect with us via chats from other folks. So at this point we are looking at June for the start of our level classes, and of course we will readjust as time tells and do what is needed and required and recommended and wise at the time. So and email is coming out about that in this next coming week. Thank you, Chris, and thank you for taking classes. All right. Oh, Matt Smith, I'm going to read yours. Thing in my room, there's a cord on my desk. I don't know what it's for, so it's been there a long time. My life is full of cords that I allow to linger because I don't know what they are. Well, that is nice. Isn't that nice from Matt Smith? You're such a poet. Yeah. Hey, you know, something coming up is going to be a forum with Randy and other improv leaders and artistic directors, and just so we can, it'll probably be recorded, maybe on a Zoom, and then recorded and then played. And Matt Smith, I definitely hope that you're a voice on that. Sid, you're very, very funny. Okay, when did you fall in love with improv? Have there been times you've fallen out of love with it? This is from Laurel Ryan. Oh, I'm sorry, I know you guys can see that. Fallen out of love with it or reached a plateau? If so, how did you overcome it? Oh, what a great question. Well, I had promised myself since high school that theater would be part of my life. And then I delayed that, and when it came to be like the right time for me, again, when I felt like I had time in my life to answer that promise of theater as part of my life, I happened to be at a theater sports show, and they said they have classes. And so I thought, I'll take a class. I'll take an improv class, but then I'll do a real theater class. And I fell in love with it through classes. I had wonderful teachers, Scott Creighton, Floyd Van Buskirk, Randy Dixon, Deidre, what's her last name? Watts. She's wonderful. All these, Ron, Hippie, amazing, inspiring people. And so first I was in love with them and what they could do, and just hoped that I could come close to anything like that. And I also, at the time, I was very interested in how to be a responsible citizen. And so, where to give my time. And I was part of I'm answering a personal question, so this is personal. But so I was part of a Unitarian church, and I was thinking, that's a way to give, to be a, right livelihood kind of person. And then I was taking improv classes and realized that it was a whole way of thinking, and all these rules were to help people be better people. And so then it became also not only that romantic love, because it's so fun and it's sexy and it's just a wonderful thing to do, but also in that kind of more soulful way of to my spirit it speaks. And I want to carry this in these precepts ahead. Falling out of love with it, I've had times when I felt, times when it's harder for me was when it felt like the craft was ignored, and that it was, if there's neglect around the craft, and it becomes more of like a social thing, and when I've been part of, in other contexts, then it feels less like an art form and more like a social club. And I thought I'm doing this because I wanted to do theater, and that made me fall out of love because I thought, oh, is that what it is? But then I was wrong about that, and I see how it's integrated in, but something to manage too. We're not just a social club, we are a theater. So, I mean, not that we've ever just been that. What I'm talking about it in bigger terms, larger, bigger community. So, and how I got back in was just being away from it for a while, and then realizing how precious it is and how good we have it at Unexpected Productions. What a, we have a whole theater, that's amazing. We have this cast of people who are really talented and that take good care of each other. And so I think it was stepping away a little bit and then really appreciating it from that distance. So thanks for the question, Laurel. Ricketts. Oh, yes, because that was her married name. Thank you, Ron. Dee Dee Ricketts. Man, see? She was a fun teacher, man. Redhead. Oh, loved it. Let's see. Comments. Okay. Let's see. Cool. Yes, and just we'll be starting Zoom. We're asking when will Zoom classes start, and that is very soon. Very soon, while we have the opportunity and the necessity. And there's lots of teachers have already contacted me with specific concrete ideas, and so we just have to get it up on board. So thanks for asking. Stay tuned. They will be yes. Yes, yes. Chris, hi. Sid, Jill, what would you recommend for improvisers who feel they've plateaued? That point when you know all these principles, but they don't come out in performance consistently. Yeah, when you've plateaued as an improviser, or you feel that you have. I like to, the analogy that you come to learn so much that you become observant of yourself. Whereas when you first start, you're kind of playing with some free abandon. And so a lot of it feels like it works even better than once you know a lot. And then you know a lot, and I think it's that kind of out-of-body experience which we have as improvisers, watching ourselves. But it's a point of development. It's just a developmental phase. When you're sort of in that watching the rules in yourself and how it's supposed to be, that can kind of, it loses the spontaneity to an extent, and then it loses the possibility. Whereas when you're a beginner, you may bomb into some amazing scene works. I teach 100 and I see some amazing scenes because people don't know what they're doing. And then you start to know what you're doing. You may develop habits that you default to without even knowing it. Or you may develop things that you think are going to help make it work. And it's just not that free abandonment. So I think if you can play like you didn't know anything again, which is easy to say, or like, I don't know anything, I'm going for this. And also play with vulnerability. Like, let yourself be so vulnerable. You're going to crash and burn. And put it out there anyway to see new possibility. I think it's being willing to fail again. Because some of the plateauing comes from safe measures inadvertently taken that sort of make our our steps really small. Like we're not taking big galloping gallops through the story, right? And so if you sort of like play with more risk and with a total willingness to fail, then you'll come to something that was a complete surprise to you. Because I think along with that plateau, there's less surprises because you're sort of maybe have an idea of how things can work out. And the more you depend on doing things in a way that makes it work out in your mind, the flatter it gets. So like sometimes people end up defaulting to arguing in scenes because it feels interesting, it feels alive, it feels like there's something really going on, it feels like, oh, there must be stakes if we're mad. But it's just agreed activity. Boop, 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 boop. That's an argument. And if you get real vulnerable and love that person instead, that character on stage, instead of arguing with them, you're in the danger zone. Because then, oh my gosh, then what could happen? You're not in a safe argument. You're in total danger. So I would say if you feel plateaued, be willing to fail. See if you can identify any habits and let go of them. Let them go and be willing to be in a bad scene and see if you can be surprised by what happens instead of expecting to kind of make it work. Expect to let it fail and you'll be on new territory for some real successes, and successes are just surprises and discoveries. Okay, so there is that. Thank you for listening to that long answer. You talked about performing in the truth of the moment. Tips for that feeling of rats, I should have said, after the moment is past. Our editor's always on, right? Loud, you know, telling us this, telling us that. And I think to try to, a tip for kicking that feeling of judging yourself as you go along is immerse yourself further into the scene. And really imagine the where. Imagine those circumstances so that you smell the food that you're pretending to cook on the stove. You feel the linoleum under your feet. Imagine that. And then you're living the imaginary circumstances instead of judging yourself or instead of being outside of it, kind of thinking about it. You're living it. And you live it with your senses, live it with your imagination, live it with your heart. When a character in that scene says something to you, how does it hit you? Does it make you happy? Does it make you love them? Then in free abandonment, fall into that feeling and let it take you for a ride. And if you're immersed in your feelings that are reacting to what is your scene partner is doing, if you're immersed in the imaginary circumstances, you are too busy to judge what you said and did. Your character will do the work for you. So there's that answer. And good thing that Matt kept all his chords. Yes. Cool. Hi, Erin Dean. And that's a question. Jill, can you explain the value and tips of how an experienced improviser can have fun playing with a less experienced improviser to a level of personal satisfaction? All right. Cool. Well, you know, as improvisers, we're in flux all the time. I mean, new people are always having to learn how to do this, and we're learning with them. So we get on board with people that we've improvised with for a long, long time, and people we haven't improvised with that have very little experience. And I don't remember who said this. Frayne Masters was the person who gave me this advice, but she told me that someone else had told her. But maybe somebody knows. Here it is. Here it is. Before you step on stage with that person, you say in your heart, I'm improvising with the best improviser in the world. I'm stepping on stage with the best improviser in the world. And lead with that thought to see how that's helpful. I would also say that, you know, as we're taught, Sid was asking about that feeling of plateau. A lot of experienced improvisers may have developed some habits that'll get in the way of a quality scene, whereas the beginner may be much more open, and you may end up in territory that can be far more surprising and satisfying in some ways. So we can hope for those moments. And I say mix it up, because if you're improvising with someone who lacks the skills to say yes, I mean to adhere to our tenets of improv, right? We have to, well, we want to do what we're supposed to do. If that can't happen, then be sure you get to spend some time with people where it does flow easily, because they have more experience. So it's that one is tough. But and also we never know. I mean, we can have a great, you know, someone with a lot of experience who for a variety of reasons may not be on the top of their game. And so we don't know what kind of scene we're going to be in with them either. And yeah, so thanks for that's a really great question. We deal with it all the time. So cool, that's great. That's for writers too. Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Dad. Yes, let yourself make mistakes. Right, if you're in a plateau, let yourself make mistakes. Oh, cool. Zach is getting dizzy. Do not sacrifice your sense of balance for this. So yeah, we'll talk to you later, Zach. Cool. Thank you, Kent. Great. These are such wonderful. Just checking to see if I missed anybody's questions. You know, the thing about beginners or people with less experience, we may have some set ideas of how something is supposed to happen, and it's only set out of our habits. And so it's interesting, like if I explain a game or an exercise to students, and then they do it in the way that apparently that I explained it, but it seems very different than what I thought I was telling them to do. I'll see a whole different rendition of something. And I'd be like, well, what a beautiful thing to do with that. I'd never thought of doing it that way. Yeah, just a tidbit on that one. Cool. So I want to thank you for all of your questions and for your comments and just your presence of being here together. And when we are back together in person, then we'll remember this separateness that'll still exist even when we can touch each other. We're still separated, but that's okay, because it's not my separateness and your separateness that matters. That's just a given, but it's what comes in between us, and that's what we have as improvisers. So We are embracing the unknown and each other and saying yes. And you'll hear more from us. We'll have more live chats. There will be things that you can do, classes on Zoom and some performances to see. And I can't thank you enough. If you have been in our audience for the 37 years that we've existed, or in the company, or in our as colleagues, thank you. What a great thing. That's amazing. And if you're brand new, oh, thanks for taking a gamble with us. We appreciate it. I'm going to sign off now. I look forward to answering questions or in email that I'll get from students, and talking to you about classes and all of that, and look forward to being with the company again soon. So sending love, sending safety. Let us know if there's something that you need. We're a big company. There might be a way we can help. Good night.